everybody, and welcome to the program. I am your host, Phatman.
And I'm Littleboy.
And we are back. We have been gone for quite some time. We do apologize.
A little over a month.
Yeah, and that's a long time in this business.
Yeah.
Do apologize for that, but we, as you can see, we're in the new studio. This studio is now PMLB Studios, and we love it.
Once you forgot, this is the show for June 25th, 2012.
Yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. We talked about that. I keep screwing up on that. I don't want to get involved in that anymore.
You know what I realized when I wrote the date down on this is the year's half over.
Almost.
Well, in a few days.
Yeah.
The year will be halfway over. Where did it go?
Do you remember we had our Christmas Wars show?
Yes.
Isn't that something?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, it seems like yesterday.
Yes, I do remember that. As a matter of fact, I do remember that show.
The Christmas Wars show. There's a war on everything.
War on Christmas.
There is a war on Christmas, but we'll talk about that in 6 more months, apparently.
Yeah, well,
a little over 6 months.
When the war starts up again.
First, I want to thank our sponsor. We have a sponsor, goldandsilver.com. You can go to phatmanlittleboy.com, click on the gold and silver banners, see what they got, learn a little bit about it, and you know my famous words, in the economy like this, with a president that just decides to print money whenever he thinks he needs it, maybe you need something a little more substantial, like gold.
Buy some gold and silver, and we'll get a little piece of it. It'll help us out. It'll help us finish building the studio.
Yeah. The studio is coming along quite well. We are looking for sponsors and investors, of course. Everybody always is.
Right.
The Phatman Littleboy show is now on a fast track since we've been working very hard on the Pound for Pound Sports show, which is now on the radio, Fox Sports Network, actually.
Yes.
And possibly switching to, or not switching, but adding on ESPN radio. So they're taking a fly, that's for sure.
Yeah, they're doing great.
But you're going to start seeing the the Phatman Littleboy show back again, and we'll start doing our push on our own show now.
Yep.
Now that we have some sponsor money coming in, we'll start pushing our own stuff.
Yes.
Littleboy, how has your month been? But I'm going to say, how's your week?
Well, you always say, how's my week? My month has been great. I did, remember we talked a lot about it. I ran my half marathon.
Tell everybody about it. Cool.
It was great. My plan was, or my goal was, are you okay there?
I lost my mic. And I lost a little thingy that goes on it.
That's all right.
Oh, well, go ahead.
My goal was to finish, it's a half marathon. I wanted to finish in my first goal was to not die.
Isn't that everybody's first
Success.
goal? Success. You're still alive.
Second goal was to run the whole time without walking. Success. Third goal was to finish in 2:45 or less, and I finished in 2 hours and 30 minutes.
Success.
I felt awesome. I felt tired, but it was like you get that sense of accomplishment. Like I felt I was exhausted, and then you cross the finish line, and it's just like a really euphoric feeling. It felt awesome.
Wow.
It really felt good.
You know, I get that same feeling when I open up a brand new box of Oreos. And I could go through that too. First, my wife brings them home from the store. Success. All right.
First she comes home.
Well, first she comes home. That's a success that she's home. Second, that she brings home the Oreo. Success. Mm-hmm. Third is that I open that new package, which I love because the top opens up. Success. Grab a glass of milk. Success. Throw 3 or 4 Oreos in there. Eat them. Don't choke to death. Success. Then euphoria.
Yes.
All right. So anyway, that's our way. Now the producer's talking to us in her ear, but you guys can't hear it, so she's making a funny, which is.
So now we're going to be chuckling, and
now
we're
going to check. Everybody's like, "What's wrong with those two idiots?"
You know, once again, the show, you can call in live to the show. We've had people call in before. Phone line's open, 619-387-3457. You can also direct tweet into me. I'm at LBHost, and I'll be following on my phone. If you tweet me directly and it's interesting, I'll mention it, and we'll try and answer the question. And
I'm at Phatman Show, but to be honest with you, if you tweet me in, I don't know what's wrong with my phone, so I may or may not get it. Right. Let's put it that way.
Right. And honestly, my phone's working, and sometimes I may or may not get them, too. I've got some tweets during the show, and I didn't get them until after the show, so it happens. It's not that I'm ignoring you. It's just that sometimes I miss them.
We have a lot to talk about, Littleboy.
Yes, we do.
I'm going to try to open my Twitter again, just while it's working real quick.
Okay.
So I can, have a little dead air on the show. That's always good.
You know, one thing we're going to do is I'm very excited to start talking. There's going to be 3 debates this year.
Yes.
And so we will make sure that we do a post show on each debate. I'm sure they'll separate them by a week or 2.
You know, it's funny. Actually, I just got a tweet. I just received a tweet from Josh Taylor. Josh will be on the show after us today.
Yes.
On a new show called, and I talked about this in a pre-show, is called San Diego Sports Junkies. And I believe that show's going to go far.
Yes, it's going to be on PMLB Sports. It'll be on a different website. PMLB Sports is going to stream live today at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. It's going to be the inaugural show. We're kind of integrating the Padre Cast into that. The Padre Cast is kind of turning into that. It's going to be an all San Diego show and the round table.
They're all kind of going into the show.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a three-man show, and Josh and Justin and I will be on it with them. It's going to be kind of their show. They're going to run things. I'm just going to be the third wheel, and I'm really excited. And they're both, we kind of did a little bit of a practice last week. It went really well.
They're very good. They're very good. That's why I said they'll be on the radio, just like the pound for pound guys within 6 months. I'm sure of it. Let's get to the fact at hand. Let's start with today. I know you want to talk about Sandusky suicide and or suicide watch. I wish it was Sandusky suicide. All right. He was convicted of all 63 counts, right? 64 counts? No,
all but 3. I think they charged him for 67, and he was convicted of 64.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, oh man, they didn't get a perfect score.
No,
they
didn't.
I do feel bad for the 3 that didn't pass, because what if those are individuals?
The thing is, they didn't. It's not that they couldn't get him a pass. I think that they didn't push that. I mean, if you can get 64 out of 67, who cares about the 3? They're like, whatever, Well,
except if you're one of those 3.
Well, if you're one of those 3, you're still happy that he's being convicted. They say the maximum sentence 442 years. He's 68 years old. I'm sure that he won't see the end of that.
Oh, that's good.
They have him on suicide watch right now. Well, one funny thing that I actually read today, do you know that the inmates are already he doesn't have direct contact. They have him separated from the other inmates, but they're teasing him. They're singing Another Brick in the Wall. Have you heard that? They're saying,
no.
Hey, teacher, leave those kids alone. All the people in jail are kind of mocking him a little bit.
Well, that type of person in jail, they don't usually fare so well.
Bottom of the barrel. Well, the thing is, he's going to be separated. They're going to segregate him. I had a conversation with a gentleman at work who completely is against that. He says, you do the crime, you should not be segregated. We shouldn't have to do it. If you can't handle dealing with prison with whatever you did, then why should we, then don't do the crime.
Well, that's true.
Why should we go out of our way to
You're right, but what
you?
if the crime is, and it's a terrible crime, but it's not a capital punishment crime. So if you put him in jail and he gets killed by somebody else, and it's because of what technically, it's you're putting him in jail and he gets killed, and that could possibly happen to him.
Right.
Well,
another thing and I didn't agree with this gentleman, by the way. We talked about it. He's a
Who
good
is
friend
this
of mine.
gentleman?
His name is Sergio.
Oh, the loud guy.
The loud guy.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Loud. The thing is, let's just say, what if, I don't believe this, of course, but what if all of these kids got together and made up this story? And then
all 67 of them?
I'm just saying.
Because he does say he's innocent. He came out today again and says he's innocent.
Do you know what his defense was, by the way? They brought on 3 or 4 kids that were part of the thing that he didn't molest. And he said, see, he didn't molest these kids. That was their defense.
Were they like uglier ones or something?
I don't know, yeah. Maybe they're upset like Mr. Garrison.
Wow. Anyway.
But what happens if, let's just say for the sake of argument that really they all got together and they decided they didn't like this guy and they accused him of this. They snuck this through. They got him convicted. They did not segregate him. They killed him. 10 years later, it comes out that they actually, they had made it up and he was innocent, and he got killed in prison for it.
Well, yeah. You know what though? This particular deal, if he kills himself, you know how I feel about suicide. We talked about that before. It's horrible. But hey, that's his way out. That's his way out. Because remember how I always say, it's a permanent solution to a temporary problem.
Exactly.
This is not temporary for him.
No, it's not.
So I got to pull that away from it. He's going to hell anyway, in my opinion. So it doesn't really matter. But that's the easy way out.
The whole thing that I brought this up, we haven't even got to.
Okay, go ahead.
Should being able to commit suicide be a right?
No, absolutely not.
If he wants to commit suicide, should they let him?
No.
No.
No. It's against the law.
Is committing suicide against
Absolutely,
the law?
It's against the law. Of course. I mean, if you're dead, they're not going to do much to you.
Right.
Yeah, it's against the law.
Really?
It's taking a human life.
Even if it's your own.
Even if it's your own.
Should it be? Stop throwing out your "it's the law, so I follow it" BS, because I'm tired of hearing that.
Okay. Should it be? Yes. Come on.
Should it be a law?
Yeah, it should be.
Suicide
and what are we? I mean, you ever watch that movie Soylent Green?
It's made out of people.
Yeah, I mean, No, suicide should be illegal. It should not be easy to do, and it shouldn't be talked about the way it is. We talked about this with
it's
Junior
like
Seau.
it's so acceptable.
I know,
like it's
and I hate it. I hate every minute of that. So I don't want to go back into that. That was our last show. That's how we ended our last show. I don't want to go back to that. But should it be legal? No. Should it be his right? No, absolutely. First off, he has no rights.
He's lost his right.
Okay, he has no rights.
Including the right to kill himself. Although that's the right that nobody ever has.
Nobody has it. Doesn't matter. So who cares anyway? And I think being in jail is supposed to be both punitive, because that's what's happening, and rehabilitative. But the problem is, he's not going to be rehabilitated. He'll be dead. And I know that the judge now is looking into, I know we're kind of bouncing around the suicide thing, but he's looking into sending him to see if he is a criminal threat for violence, and if he is, getting him the treatment that he needs. But he's in there for 400 years, possibly,
right.
and you can give him all the treatment in the world, he's going to die in jail.
Right.
So,
well, and there's nothing they can do. He'll always have to be segregated. There's really...
It's going to cost a lot
There's
of money.
nothing redeeming that's going to come out of this. There nothing is. The only thing is the kids that were affected can say he's being punished. That's it. But they have to live. I don't want to say he's ruined them. He has
destroyed their lives.
He has affected their lives. They can overcome this, because you have to be able to overcome stuff like this.
Do you know why
their lives are affected for the rest of their lives?
Do you know why crimes like this, and this is crimes against children or crimes against women or violent crimes, sexual crimes, the reason why they're so disgusting and sinister is that they affect the victim their lifetime.
Right.
It's just as if how murder affects the family members their lifetime. This affects those victims their lifetime. Getting robbed, getting your car stolen, getting your house broken into, if you're not involved in it, doesn't affect like that. But this would happen to these children for the rest of their life will have a problem. And that's the heinousness of this crime. It's not just what happened, it's which is disgusting, it's the time that it's done to be a problem.
The thing that disgusts me is it was so, they had him dead to rights. He couldn't put on any defense. Why did he waste everybody's time? Make these kids go up and actually have to talk about, why didn't he just go guilty and move? I mean, I know he doesn't want to say he's guilty. That's the problem.
That's exactly what.
But you know what? If he had any, that should have been his way of saying, you know what, this is what I'm doing to make things as right as I can. I'm guilty. Let's not make these kids go through anymore. Let's just move on. All right, let's move on.
That would be a human being.
Yeah, he's not.
Okay, and what happens is when someone crosses that line, they're no longer a human being.
No.
And so they don't have to. Okay, let's continue on. Now we have talked about health care and how the Supreme Court is supposed to rule on Obamacare right now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they didn't. The ruling's supposed to come down on Thursday. You know where I sit and where you sit. Originally, it was supposed to happen the first week of June, so I had thought we'd come back with that.
Right.
What happened today with the Supreme Court on Arizona's immigration law, which I'm not bouncing to, so I'm just telling, shows that maybe the Supreme Court might be, I don't know. For me, the immigration law in Arizona, they struck down one of the sections. Well, I don't want to go to that right now. Let's continue. What I was saying is the Supreme Court is making their rulings slower than normal.
Do you know why? You don't know why? Do you have a theory?
No, I have a theory, and I don't like the theory if it's the theory I think it is.
Let's hear it.
I think it's political.
Okay.
They said they were going to come out the beginning of June with the ruling, right? Mm-hmm. And that's when it should have come out.
Political to help who?
Well, to be honest with you, the Arizona one helped the president today. So I don't know if that's the way the Supreme Court would go, but I was saying that the Supreme Court was going to hold it back, because if the president loses the health care debate, it's a huge knock to his campaign.
Right.
If he wins it, it won't do any more than help, than get his voters behind him. What I wanted to see was it come out. Now, I'm not I support any president, but I don't support, reelecting this president. You know that I do. The thing is,
you say you do.
I don't like, if it is politics, for them to hold off until the last minute and then hand him a defeat. Because then it's getting too close to the election. He doesn't have time to bounce back from any issues.
I don't think that they're. I think
should be fair.
But I think if you're going to say they're politicizing it, we would be getting closer to November. Them holding it back till then.
Yeah, but they hold it back a whole month.
Yeah, but maybe they were trying to finalize it and stuff. And I know they have their decision now, so they're really holding it back just a couple days from their decision. Which to me, I don't know. I don't think that's political myself. I'm really nervous. I have a feeling it might be going down. I hope it doesn't.
Well, I don't think all parts of it will go
No.
down. I think that the parts that are going to go down of the law,
The mandate. The mandate is what's
mandate.
going to go down. And the thing is, the mandate is the one thing that's going to keep the cost down. If everybody has it, that's how you keep the cost down.
Except that the mandate now. Parts of the law were watered down at the end there.
Yeah,
when
they
it was
didn't.
put in.
Yeah,
and basically
what
what
he
happened
wanted.
was the government, the employer, no longer it just has to have it for you. You still got to pay for it,
Right?
But they have to have it for you. But any employer can do that now anyway if they wanted to.
Almost all of them do. They almost all make it available.
Right, but the mandate would have hurt people lower income.
Maybe, maybe not. We'll have to see.
Well, I mean, because I don't know.
The mandate basically says that if your employer has to offer it, which most of them do,
yeah,
they don't have to pay for any of it. The employer, and if you can either choose to take that or you can purchase it. There's another government subsidized one that you can purchase.
Government subsidies, hate those.
Well, all right, let's move on.
So what's going to happen, I don't know. We'll know on Thursday. So next week's show on Monday, we will definitely get to, and hopefully we have a verdict by then.
I'm afraid it's going to go down. I really hope it doesn't.
Either way, down or up, it has to come. The fact that they take so long to do stuff like this is, first off, if you're running a business and you took, and said, hey, I'm going to take another month.
You cannot compare. You can't compare the government.
Yeah, but I know that. But I'm just saying it's not in the best interest of the people. The people want to know what it is, get it done, what's done, finished, and that's it. So, I think I even got a tweet on that. I did, but it's nothing you're gonna like. So we'll leave it out. So anyway. Let's go to the next one. This one I found very interesting. This is a Gallup poll. The Gallup poll came out, and this is actually yesterday's poll, but you have it on here for today. Mm-hmm. That 44% of people, it just says people, but I think it's of Americans, do not know the president's religion.
Right.
Well, I said he's Muslim.
Let me ask you a question about that.
I don't know that.
My first of all, if you had to take a poll right now, what is President Obama's religion, what would you check? Or what would you write in? Is there one little tiny thing that has made you believe that he's Muslim?
His father was, his mother was converting, and there's pictures of him in a whatever they call it their temple or whatever, doing the prayers, and he was raised that.
I've never seen any of those, and he.
You've never seen any of those? You know his dad was.
He goes to Christian church right now.
Well, maybe his. Well, now listen. We can talk about.
You think that he's a spy?
No, I think his wife, who was born here and her whole family was here, she is a Christian, and I think that she's raising her children Christian, and that's the way it is. I have a friend who is not Catholic, yet he goes to church with his wife, who's a Hispanic woman, and his children because they're Catholic.
Well, he has said that he's Christian, so you think he's lying?
Yeah, I think that he's Muslim. He was raised Muslim.
My whole point about all this, which is funny, I think that's so funny that people think he's Muslim. I think that's ridiculous. But
why do you think it's ridiculous? Why do you think?
Because there's nothing that says that. All that is crap.
Says what?
All that is crap.
I mean, is there like a form that you could say, oh, hey, no. you're this denomination, you're that, you're this? There's
you
not.
don't have any reason to think he's Muslim.
The only reason why I have to think he's Muslim is, yes, he did go to school, Muslim school. Yes, his father was Muslim. In that culture, the father usually always takes control over the religious beliefs.
If he was Muslim, then he would be going to Muslim. He would be going to Muslim.
Do you think he would get elected if he was going to mosques when he first got started?
No.
Oh, there you go.
But my whole point about all this is who the hell cares anyways?
Well, it doesn't really matter.
What does a president's religion have to do with anything? It shouldn't have.
But you know what's really funny?
To do.
This same thing came up with JFK. Being Catholic. It comes up with a lot of different. Religion runs I know you don't like to hear it, but it runs a very big part of this country.
It does. I agree with you, and it absolutely should not.
And that's where it is. The decisions made, I don't think they make that much difference. I mean,
they shouldn't.
I do have a question for you though. When he apologized to the Muslim Brotherhood or whatever for the U.S. actions, did you think a sitting president should actually ever apologize for what his country does?
I think that they should. I think I remember Bush apologized for something too, and
the people to the Muslim Brotherhood
and the Democrats ripped him for that too. I think that if we have done, we are not perfect.
No.
And if we do something that we feel that we should not have done, we should apologize.
Nah. Let me tell you, when you have strength, you have strength.
If you do something that you think that is wrong, do you feel like you should apologize?
I'm not the leader of the free world.
You think that the leader of the free world, we don't ever make mistakes?
Doesn't matter. You have to keep this.
If you do
persona.
something wrong, you need to say, "Hey, man, we messed up. I'm
But
sorry.
that was in
Big
his
mistake."
opinion that we did something wrong.
Well,
It was his opinion
right.
that
He's
going
the
to
leader
war,
of the free world.
But he's apologizing for every single American citizen. I am not apologetic to it. I think we did the right thing.
He's your leader. He's speaking for you.
And that's exactly why I have a problem with it.
Well,
you see what I'm saying? I don't want him to apologize for me because I don't think we did anything wrong.
Well,
I don't want him to apologize for the thousands of men who were killed there.
If something was wrong, we need to apologize.
Well, all right, let's get on. We're at 20 minutes now.
Okay.
Okay, so we talked about the Supreme Court today. Arizona, the Supreme Court struck down 2 of the 3 parts of the Arizona immigration law. They struck down the racial profiling section, which absolutely I have no problem with that, because as much as when I was in law enforcement, and I actually am back in Arizona law enforcement, so it kind of affects me a little bit, but racial profiling is an issue. If you're pulling somebody over because of their color, that's an issue. And the reason why it's an issue is you can be, and I'm going to put this out there, I remember this from the academy, you had a black man, right, driving a car, guy is absolutely a stand-up citizen, has never ever done anything wrong, but he keeps getting harassed because of his color. That's not fair to him. And I was explaining this to my children today. Actually, my daughter was asking me about this part of the law because she was saying, well, what does it matter? And I said, it doesn't matter to you because it's never happened to you. But had it happened to you as an upstanding person and you're getting pulled over because of your color or your race, or you look Arab and you're getting pulled over because they're nervous or whatever, it's not right.
No.
They have to be breaking the law. There's a thing called probable cause. And if there's not that, then you can't use racial profiling for that.
You're pulling them over for something they have absolutely no control over.
No, they're born.
No
You're born whatever way you are.
Well, stop looking so Mexican or stop looking so whatever.
So
you can't do that. They have no choice.
Right.
You are what you are. And
that section of the law I had no problem knocking off. The section of the law that gives the officers the right to conduct an investigation on someone to see if they're illegal or not, they did strike that down too, and I didn't.
No, they held it up. They held that one.
No, what they held up is if you're pulled over for something else, they could ask you, but you can't set up a checkpoint.
Yeah, you can't set up a checkpoint. You can't pull somebody over just for that reason.
Just and check their immigration status.
Right, if you pull them over, you can check their immigration status and I don't have a problem with that.
Well, except that then you would have to turn around and they have these checkpoints set up for DUIs and stuff, but they won't give that. They can't. You can pull over anybody and ask them if they've been drinking. You can pull over anybody and ask them if they have drugs or narcotics in their car, or if they're breaking the law. You can straight out ask them for that. Right. But now you can't ask them if they're a citizen. So I don't understand now, if you're at a DUI checkpoint and you're pulling everybody over and asking them, but one thing you can't ask them is, are you a citizen?
But if you get them for one of those other things...
Oh, sure, that doesn't matter. Then it doesn't matter because you have the probable cause. But I don't understand why they upheld that section of it. That was under a civil rights issue, they said. And why they held that up, saying that, no, you can't ask them if they're a citizen or not at one of these checkpoints.
You know, the immigration in the United States is kind of messed up anyway.
Oh, it's very messed up.
You know, one of the real issues is we have a lot of people that are here that aren't here legally but are contributors. They contribute to the United States.
Well, but now there's
the ones that you hear about, but they don't. Most of them, I can't say all. Most of them don't pay taxes because they can't, because they want to stay off the grid or whatever.
So that's it. You're not.
So let's find a way to get them on the grid.
Yes, get on the grid. Do the amnesty when they have that.
Let's do that. Yeah, and that's what Obama wants to do. And then let's get all of these. Let's get the people that are here legally that should be here. Let's get them here legally, or the people that are here illegally that are contributing. Let's get them here. Find a way to make them legal. The ones that are here that are illegally here that are causing trouble. Let's get them out, and then let's tighten things up. And one thing that I was actually listening to Penn Jillette...
hundreds, it's tens of...
I know, it's going to take a while to fix. It's going to take a while to fix.
Nah, it'll never
happen. One
thing
that Penn Jillette said, which I kind of agreed with, was he said, if people want to come here, we should let them come here.
Well, that's what we were before. The thing is...
And I don't have a problem with that, but you've got to go through the proper channels.
Right, but you have to come here and not be a drain on the system. You have to be an increase. And so basically, if you're a Mexican citizen, you can get a visa to the U.S. Right. You can get a green card. It takes time. You have to do it and show that you are actually going to contribute, and you can do it. The problem is they don't want to wait. You know, and I can understand that. I live here. For God's sakes, let me tell you something. I'd do anything to be where I am now.
Yeah, and another thing is, the way things are right now, in order to go through the proper channels, everything is so messed up and jacked up.
Well, we talked about that with the Supreme Court taking 6 months
cost-wise
or something.
and time-wise and all that.
But
the whole system needs to be fixed.
It does need to be fixed, but it is what it is. Now, the third part of law that they upheld did say that if they are arrested for another crime, that they can be then asked, you know, are you a citizen or not? What I didn't like is that the Homeland Security chief today, Janet Napolitano, said that they will not be allowed to call ICE or Customs and have this person deported unless they have a warrant for a felony or have committed a felony. So even though the Supreme Court upheld that law, they said that they don't call ICE, don't call immigration, unless it's a major crime. And that just happened an hour before showtime, as I was watching it on TV.
I don't know. I think...
Well, the thing is, you know, we had the producers talking to us in the air again. You guys can't hear. We're going to have to figure that out.
Well, no, I like it. We have to get used to it.
I know.
We don't need to change it
for a second if you want to hear it.
We will figure it out. We're new to this as well.
I don't like that. If the Supreme Court upheld the law, that part of the law, you have to stick with it. So now Arizona, once again, will file suit, and it's just money. It's just money and money, and it's ridiculous. Producer, what's our time right now?
25, probably.
We're at 25? Okay. Okay, so what the producer's asking me is we watched a show, it's actually a documentary on how the different branches of government before 9/11 didn't talk to each other. And that was that the NSA had ideas of possible 9/11 stuff happening, but the thing is NSA was put together for National Security Administration, was put together for Cold War stuff. And then they had to make, during the Clinton administration, it was, hey, no, we got problems with the Taliban, we have problems with, and they even knew about Al-Qaeda, and they had to change them. So they were in the process of changing, but they still weren't sharing the information with the FBI and the CIA. And there's actually a law on the books that was put there well before, this is Nixon's time, that the CIA is not allowed to work on U.S. soil, so they weren't allowed to tell the FBI about things happening here. So what the producer was just saying is this the same deal where they can't call ICE? And no, this isn't. Basically what this is today is that even though that one section of the law was upheld, immigration wants to catch them at the border, and if they don't catch them at the border, the person's safe. That's basically what they're saying. They're saying unless it's a felony or the person has warrants, they're not going to come to deport them. Now, what Arizona will do, and I know they'll do this right away, is they'll just rent buses, and they will put them at the border, and they will just push them across.
Yeah, see, the problem is that I don't know.
I mean, that's what will happen. But, we have to continue because we are getting a little bit long in the tooth. And actually, we'll go ahead and just stop it there, I think, because we have another show coming up, unless you have something you really want to talk about.
You don't want to do the Solar Dead Cross?
I really do, actually, but we're at 25 minutes, and the next show's coming on. I want the people to hang out and not be too tired.
Right, you want to keep them at about 30. We'll talk about the Solar Dead Cross. We can talk about that's something we can talk about all the time. Another one that I want to talk about in the future, I want to talk about oil fracking.
Okay.
We've talked about that in the past, and there's a lot of interesting stuff going on with that. There's definitely two sides to that story, and I would love to do a little bit of research.
I would love to actually have someone who knew about that on the show. Now that we have a bigger area and we have the ability to have more guests and Skyping in guests, and we have the TV up there, I would love to have that. Matter of fact, if anybody out there knows a little bit about fracking, I would love to have you on the show. We would both love to have you on the show. And if you couldn't come on the show, we could do an off-air interview and run an interview. It's an extremely interesting prospect to me.
Very
I have friends that live in the Midwest and northern states, and they've had a lot of issues with their wells and stuff. So I'd really love to talk about it, but you're right. We'll get into that later.
I think that would be something that we'd have to dedicate a whole show to. We would just do the whole. It'd be the fracking episode. I really want to do it. I know a lot of times we say we want to do this and we never get to it. I really want to do the oil
and now school is
natural
over.
Gas fracking.
School's over. We started when school started, and we never got to our deal that we wanted to talk to.
Right. That's okay.
Well, anyway, you can always get me at Phatman@PhatmanLittleboy.com if you want to send me an email, or you can get me at PhatmanShow on Twitter.
And I am at Littleboy at PhatmanLittleboy.com, and I am at LBHost on Twitter.
you can give us a phone call at 858-522-9164. That's the number to the office.
Right.
Or you can always call the show at the normal show number, 619-387-3457. And I also want to put out a little plug out there to make sure you watch the next show coming up tonight. And if you're watching this recorded, if you can go to pmldsports.com. On the front page, you'll see our new show. It's called San Diego Sports Junkies. Great show.
Our show, once again, if you're watching this recorded, we do stream live every Monday, 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. We usually turn the stream on about 15 minutes early, and you can hear us pre-show discuss different things. Usually nothing that we're going to talk about on the show. We just talk about little funny things that we've heard about.
I had a
funny
good one
stories.
that I wanted to talk to, and he didn't want to talk about
Yeah,
it.
well, maybe we'll do that some other time.
Yeah. All right. From PMLB Studios, I want to tell everybody, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you real soon.
Take care.